the grounds of West Deptford High School in West Deptford, New Jersey. Channel 5 Sports presents high school football. Tonight, the traditional Thanksgiving rivalry. West Deptford hosting Paulsboro. Hello again, everyone. Rob Christ along with my partner, Sean Leary. A cool, beautiful evening here at West Deptford. Fine night for football. Great tradition here. Two of the top programs in all of South Jersey. Both teams headed to the championships next week. And, of course, two programs that perhaps have the richest of traditions these past 4 or 5 years. And on top of that, two of the top coaches in Clyde Folsom and Glenn Howard. Just so much to look forward to tonight, Sean.
Well, first off, I'm pumped because I'm in this sweater. And, you thought late November, getting to be early December, it's going to be cold. Number one, it's a beautiful night for football. Like you said, you have two of the best coaches going up against each other. Two programs that still have something to play for next week. But this is probably the county's biggest rivalry. Back before it was Paulsboro, Woodbury, at least in our coverage area, Gloucester Catholic, Gloucester, that's all off the board now. West Deptford and Paulsboro has eclipsed all rivalries in Gloucester County. It's the biggest night of the year for both of these schools. I don't care what anybody says about the playoffs next week. Each one of these teams want nothing more than walk out of the stadium with a victory.
Before the season started, I'm not sure if either team could think that they would find themselves in the championship game. Of course, Paulsboro seems to find themselves every year. This year, no different. A team that's led by so many players, including the quarterback position.
Well, this is a spot where this kid has really matured into such a nice, not only passer, he's a good runner. He's really learned the position. In the beginning of the season, he kind of struggled, and he wasn't comfortable. Everything was moving too fast for him. But one of the things that's happened for him is the game has slowed down, and that's just feeling more comfortable back in the pocket. And Paulsboro likes to put the ball in the air. They complement that with a very good run game. But this kid has really become comfortable. He's starting to find his receivers, and the game is slowing down for him. That is so important for a quarterback, is to be able to make your reads. That's what's slowing down me. Just being able to see the defense, making the reads, knowing where to go with the ball, and where you can slip it in without a defender picking it off. He has really blossomed, and he's only a sophomore, blossomed into a very skilled quarterback.
And that's the point you make there that Coach Glenn Howard really reinforced. Gerald Hodges is going to be around for 2 more years. He's only going to get better. We've seen his maturity throughout the year, and that's why they find themselves in the championship. Conversely, for the West Deptford Eagles, they have a senior quarterback in Matt Carroll. He does a fantastic job defensively and, of course, leads them offensively. And it's his senior leadership that has really led a team that Clyde Folsom wasn't sure if he was going to find themselves in a championship game, but in large part it's due to Matt Carroll.
Yeah, you said senior leadership. And this kid, he's a fun kid to be around. He's a guy that always got a smile. He's a kid that's going to come up and say, hey, how you doing? But one of the things that he's done is he's improved his game because he's running the ball better. He's starting to find the holes. Again, feeling a little bit more comfortable in the season. And you look at Matt Carroll, he's a tough kid coming up, a good midget football player. You thought maybe defensively he was going to shine. He's really blossomed as a quarterback. Just like Hodges on the opposite side, he's really found his game, running the ball effectively. He's got a good burst of speed. Once he hits the hole, he's explosive. Another guy that you complement those three, the trio, the backs that they have in the backfield, you add him in there, and it is a very strong running game for West Deptford.
Well, both of these teams, as we mentioned, boast fine records on their way to the championship, but both coaches said, we want to win this game. It should be hard fought, and we'll have it for you. Kickoff after this on Channel 5. Welcome back to West Deptford High School, about to get underway. Perry to kick it off for West Deptford. Mike Perry, a senior kicker, on his way to the University of Delaware. And again, this great rivalry is underway. Taken at the 7-yard line, and Gaines stopped just outside the 20. First down and 10. Paulsboro will work the long field at their own 21-yard line.
Yeah, I think field position is going to be a huge part, especially in the beginning of this game, as both teams are going to feel each other out a little bit. The one thing Paulsboro really wants to do is mix it up and put a lot of balance on offense, Rob. Not only establish a running game, but they're going to want to try to move the ball downfield, and they feel comfortable doing that now with the maturity of Hodges.
First down and 10 for the Red Raiders. Paulsboro coming into this game a 9-1 record. Quick out, and he finds his big target. That's Silvestro. Silvestro, arguably the most talented player on this Red Raiders squad. Division I scholarship offers from a number of schools.
Yeah, he's going to be making his visit soon. I like this call. You get the big guy involved early in the game, get his feet wet, taken down by Young, who's also got some good size. But there you see Alex Silvestro getting into the game, not only on the defensive side. It's nice to see him get his touches. You want to get him involved early on.
Glenn Howard said he really wants to throw the ball, and he's been able to do that with success this year. Hand off more than enough for a first down. Siobhan Mears dancing through the secondary, a big chunk. And Paulsboro moving the chains. This should be a very good game today.
Yeah, Siobhan Mears over the last couple of weeks has really come into his own. Last year he came in and filled in for Paulsboro when injuries mounted. They had folks who went down. You can say he's a tough runner. Last week he threw a touchdown to Silvestro. So Siobhan Mears really has come into his own, and this is his time of year, as he showed last season.
Two receivers split right on first down. The quick out, and Hodges hooks up with Shane Mitchell. We mentioned before that Howard wants to throw the football, and he's done so successfully here early.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. You want to come out, again, try to mix it up, keep him off balance. Mitchell is a senior on this team that provides a lot of leadership. He has great hands, good speed, great combination, probably a college player somewhere. You see that winning percentage from Glenn Howard, which is 85.7. That is just ridiculous, but that just goes to show you what type of program that he runs, what type of feeder program that Paulsboro has in the township.
First and 10, and the handoff right up the gut. Mears spins, finally taken down after the big gain, and first down again for Paulsboro.
I said township, I think I meant Barrow. Speaking of Barron, just Barron right through the middle of the defense. Going to run through the teeth. And good job of blocking up front so far for Paulsboro. They wanted to establish the line of scrimmage. They have some big guys who have, again, developed along with Hodges.
Mears picks up 12 yards. First and 10 inside of West Deptford territory. This time maybe 2 or 3 yards.
Mears on the carry.
And, you know, Sean, two teams heading to the championship next week. In many ways, this is a great matchup for each team, and yet in other ways it's not. I mean, in terms of gearing up for next week. Because you know they're going to be geeked up for this game.
Oh, of course, you get these two teams to play against one another. And, you know, over the last, it's been a lot of hype that surrounded this game, but I think Scott Chapelier, our football writer for the paper, said not since 1985 has this game been decided by less than 2 touchdowns, or 95, one of those years.
Forced out of the pocket. Hodges now dances back. Right up the gut, still moving. Look at this run. Wow, shades of Kevin Harvey. Well, many people on the Paulsboro sideline had seen this type of run sometime back when Kevin Harvey manned the quarterback spot for Paulsboro.
Watch Siobhan Mears come in here, the running back, make a nice block on Zach Smith. And it's going to take, looked like it was Dan Batdorf, who's just going to grab him by the shoes. See Batdorf come from the behind and just get him to knock him off his feet.
Turns a big loss into a positive, and that has to give this Paulsboro team a big momentum boost, and they continue to push the football down the throat of West Deptford.
You knew coming into the game, you said geeked up. That's a pretty good word for it, because you knew Paulsboro, after what Clyde Folsom, you see his winning percentage, not too shabby either. What he did to Paulsboro last year in his Eagles, they went into Paulsboro and really embarrassed the team. After coming through that game, you thought, you know, how Paulsboro was going to be able to get up the following week, and Glenn Howard did a remarkable job in putting his team in position to win a Group 1 title. But you knew Paulsboro was going to come in excited, and just how excited, maybe making mistakes early on. They haven't done that at all. They seem very focused.
Out of the eye, Hodges will hand off. And Mears again, strings it out around the corner, finally knocked out of bounds just inside the 10-yard line. First down, Paulsboro.
I don't know if we could roll this play back, but Alex Silvestro throws a monster block. Watch him here, number 45. He's going to take out 2 West Deptford Eagles. Mears, a simple stretch play. They're going to stretch the field, allow him to get to the outside, see if he can find an opening. You see a couple of West Deptford guys down on the field. That was courtesy of Alex Silvestro, the big 6'4" Division I prospect.
13-yard gain, Stephon Archie finally knocking Mears out of bounds. First down and goal for Paulsboro. 8:12 remaining in the first quarter. This drive started on Paulsboro's 21-yard line. They're going to go right up the gut. And finally stopped is Carter.
Yeah, stood up that time by Tom Murdoch. Murdoch, a senior, along with Carbone, a couple of those big guys on that line.
West Deptford missing Andrew Hodgnowski today. He had high blood pressure earlier in the week as a cautionary matter, held out of this game, and that has to be very tough on Hodgnowski. Just a junior, so a lot more football for him. He'll most likely return next week against Manasquan, but you can see certainly missed on that defensive line. And now Hodges keeps. Hodges will be dropped for a loss.
Look, that was Carbone. He played out of his mind against Haddonfield. This time, the linebacker going for the ball carrier, making him pay, and it's, you know, that type of spot there is what you expect Murdoch and Carbone to come up and make a couple of plays with the backs to the wall.
So after Carter's gain, it is neutralized and eliminated after Hodges carries. We'll see if Paulsboro goes to the air here.
Just the one thing to keep in mind, both these schools, although they're small with Group 1 and Group 2 comparison to some of the bigger Group 3 and Group 4 schools, they both have very good field goal kickers.
Paulsboro wants to talk it over. We'll step away. Paulsboro on the doorstep. 6:49 left first quarter. We're scoreless at West Deptford. Welcome back to West Deptford High School. 6:49 left first quarter. Scoreless. Critical third down and goal. Hodges, quarterback draw, out of harm's way. Tucks it under, runs towards the end zone, and he is stopped shy. It looked like a design draw. And West Deptford with just excellent pressure, flushing it out. Interesting call here because it'll be fourth down and short. Of course, Paulsboro, an excellent kicker in Palomini, but it will be an odd angle. It looks like they're going to bring out the special teams unit.
And not afraid to kick it from this spot on the field. They have a terrific field goal kicker in Palomini. Special teams is something that's really concentrated on during practice. One of the reasons why I believe that Paulsboro is one of the best programs is they realize the importance of special teams.
Torrey Palomini, his kick is up, and his kick is no good.
Wide right.
Wide right. Again, that off angle. Palomini unable to bring it in. West Deptford dodges a bullet. A protracted drive consuming 12 plays.
And that ball looked like it was a little bit behind the spotter, and he wasn't able to pull it down, hold it correctly for Palomini, and it seemed like it messed that up from the beginning.
That's a good point. First
spotter, holder, one of the two.
You know what you mean.
I had too much turkey, I believe this.
Just don't fall asleep on it. Here's Archie, and he's knocked out after picking up 4 or 5 yards. They rule he was still in bounds after his forward progress. Second down. By the way, Sean, happy Thanksgiving. A belated happy Thanksgiving to you and yours.
Yep, thanks. Same deal.
From what I understand, you had one of the best Thanksgiving weeks of all time. Your wife is unable to speak this week. So.
Yeah, I didn't say that, man. I don't know what you're talking about. Thank God we don't live in this area.
Yeah. Mentioned that she has laryngitis. I've never seen you with such a big smile on your face. Second down and a pickup of 2 or 3.
I appreciate the fact that I'm going to be in trouble now for a couple of weeks for that comment, Rob.
Yeah, that's right. She can still hear, right?
She can still hear, yeah. She just can't talk.
I'm sure you'll woo her as you usually do. Come home with the full bouquet of roses. She'll forget about it in no time.
Nah.
Third down and short for the Eagles. Carroll keeps. He's got some room to operate. Sniffed out, tripped up, but not before getting a first down. Great individual effort by Anthony Pierce, but Carroll able to string it out, fall forward, and pick up the first down for the Eagles.
Yes, and he's just a tough runner. I mean, he gives you that added dimension at the quarterback position that he has a good burst of speed, very athletic, and excellent body control to stay up on his feet, stretch out, get the first down.
First and 10, Eagles. Right up the gut. Pickup of about 3.
You're going to see Silvestro, and this is running into a big man, not untouched, and it's not a sight that you want to see when you have the ball. You see big Alex Silvestro with his arms wide open.
Silvestro going 230. Andrew Young, the ball carrier, 215. So a collision of colossal proportions. Second down. Archie in motion, fumble. And this is something that Clyde Folsom talked in detail about, just how sloppy the game was last week. Able to survive the many mistakes, something they can ill afford to do against this Paulsboro team.
Yeah, he just never got the snap, but he was smart just to get on the ball, cover up. Don't try to make something.
Of course, when we were on that turf earlier, Sean, very, very wet.
Must have rained real hard here in West Deptford overnight.
Well, with the cool nights, you know, it doesn't evaporate much. And of course, in that middle of the field, too, that has the good chance of getting sloppy. Nice little pass, a quick slant, and Archie was just one tackle away from going to the house.
Yeah, it's just a quick slant. Has his man, nice grab by Archie going up, getting it with his hands, not allowing the ball to hit his body. He gets to the middle of the field. I knew it was pretty wet out there when I had to swim over to the Paulsboro sideline to get the starting lineups.
13-yard hookup for Carroll. First and 10 as they approach midfield. The handoff again. This time, not much there for big Andrew Young.
Yeah, I guess the field must not. You're right. It must not drain well, because they've always had some problems here with that. A couple of years ago with the snow conditions and the drainage, they had some problems. And you see that from a couple of schools. I know Glassboro has problems right now with draining. They might be the worst. That's why a lot of schools are going to turf now. Not only the football team to play on there, but the soccer teams. And Washington Township's one of them. Eastern, your school has.
Yep, Eastern, Washington Town. Eastern was the first school, and I think both Washington Township and Bishop Eustis got it the same year. So those are the only 3 schools in South Jersey that have AstroTurf. There's a lot of talk over at Haddonfield about possibly getting AstroTurf. Haddon Township has some of their fields other than football as AstroTurf. You don't see a lot of that. They have their soccer and their softball fields as AstroTurf. Over at Eastern, we're actually going to get AstroTurf on the baseball field. So you see that more and more, particularly with schools losing ground to neighboring developments and more sports programs. So I think you're going to see that trend become more and more prevalent. Great crowd on hand tonight. Of course, senior night for the cheerleaders and the football players here at West Deptford. Everybody's home for T-Day. You know, they talk about homecoming, but oftentimes this is the true homecoming.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people come home. Tradition to all get together the night before Thanksgiving, right? Hang out with all your friends.
Yep. You got Wednesday night before T-Day, and then everybody goes shopping the day after T-Day. Right? Were you at 5 this morning, Sean?
Was I out of 5? Yeah, I was out cold.
3rd down and 6 now for West Deptford after that timeout. Clyde Folsom wasn't particularly pleased with Carroll calling that timeout, but you know, again, Carroll didn't like what he saw. It seemed to be some miscommunication or some misunderstanding that transpired. Wanted to get it right, and that brings up a critical 3rd down. West Deptford driving. About 1:40 left in this first quarter. We're scoreless. Carroll keeps, sets, throws across the middle, tipped, and Young unable to hold on to it. As throw a little high behind him, and Archie with his hands up in the air just asking for the ball to be thrown. But
he was open. And that one of the things that Paulsboro's doing, they're putting like 8 to 9 guys in the box and forcing West Deptford, daring them almost to throw the ball. And you'll probably see that more as the game goes on. And Carroll sitting back in the pocket and trying to go up top. If they're not going to be able to run, you have to loosen up the defense.
So West Deptford will punt it away, and it looks to be Mears to receive. O-line drive. It's actually Hodges. They'll watch it bounce, and they'll start at their 22. It's deja vu all over again, just outside the 22-yard line. Paulsboro will start their drive, 21-yard line last time. 1:19 left, and not surprisingly, two teams very evenly matched in a tight ball game here. Of course, West Deptford next week will go on to play at Manasquan, a team that many people down by the shore feel is probably the best shore team. That's even better than the Toms River schools who had successful years, who are Group 4 schools, boasting a very, very big offensive line. There you see Paulsboro and West Deptford this year. Points scored, opponent points, average score, lopsided.
Yeah, both teams having excellent seasons. Again, no surprise there.
Back to pass, Hodges with a lot of time. They'll tuck it under, and Carbone lays out a big hit. Maybe a pickup of 2 after Hodges saw his options eradicated by the West Deptford secondary.
Yeah, nice coverage downfield. The one guy that did come out of the backfield was Darren Carter, number 33. You briefly saw him there. He was open down the sideline. Hodges didn't look to his left, though, and he just tucked the ball down, runs it upfield, and again, just developing as a quarterback. Those things will come. But he's certainly a terrific athlete. They're very excited about what he's going to do for the next 2 seasons.
2nd down, high formation. And again, to throw. Hodges flushed out of the pocket. He's in trouble, and he'll be sacked. Big sack.
Yeah, it was
first
Murdoch
of the night for the Eagles, and that was Murdoch.
Tom Murdoch.
Yeah, and one of the things he does is play low extremely well. Look at him driving. Number 63 taking on 2 Red Raiders. Comes out, being hit, and he's going to wrap up right there. Murdoch, certainly the equivalent of a bulldog. 5'9", 220, very strong, loves playing the game. Great leader out there.
That'll do it for the first quarter here at West Deptford. We are scoreless on Rivalry Weekend. Welcome back to West Deptford High School. Rob Christ along with Sean Leary. Second quarter, Paulsboro, West Deptford scoreless. Key 3rd down after that sack of Hodges for the Red Raiders. Again, back to pass, good protection this time. Now it breaks down, dancing in the backfield, trying to elude tacklers. He does. He'll go deep, has a man all by himself, in and out of the hands of Shane Mitchell. Hodges showcasing that arm. And again, that football a little bit slick through the glove hands of Mitchell.
Well, you talked about Kevin Harvey. I'm going to give you one who's been a little bit more recent. That's Sakeen Wright. Now, this is what Sakeen Wright used to do, was buy time back there. And that allows the receivers to get open. What's terrific about him is that he was able to, even though he's being, he's running around, he's moving all around, how can he possibly see that guy? Great vision downfield to be able to spot that guy and let it go and release, but he just buys time back back in the backfield. Terrific job by him.
Alex Silvestro, a pretty good punter in his own right, punts it, and having trouble with it is Paolini. And Paolini will down it at the 42-yard line.
Silvestro could do a multitude of different things on the football field. Punting as well, the big 6'4". Again, Division I prospect. Terrific athlete.
40-yard punt from Silvestro being looked at by Rutgers, Iowa, Minnesota, amongst others. Of course, you see Glenn Howard, who's quite a football player in his own right during his playing days. He won a championship with the USFL Philadelphia Stars and played collegiately at Minnesota.
Yeah. Played as once in a while you hear they played at Mini. That's tell that, but the guy who made the tackle was nothing mini about him. No. Demetrius Hester, all of 300 pounds, huge on the inside, takes up a lot of space.
And a great move by Carroll into the secondary. Carroll at the 20-yard line. They're not going to catch. Matt Carroll, touchdown. What a great move. 59-yard scamper. And credit Matt Carroll with that little juke that blew it wide open.
Rob, we mentioned in the open how Carroll's really, in the last month, really added a lot to the offense with his legs. That's something that he really takes a lot of pride in, the fact that he can be that fourth running back for Clyde Folsom. And Folsom mentioned how well that Carroll has played and has been a tremendous weapon.
Harry's kick is good, and West Deptford extends their lead to 7 with 10:55 left. And both teams kind of going along somewhat sleepily. Matt Carroll woke everybody up.
Now, one of the things that he did in the offseason was worked a lot out in the weight room. Terrific ball fake there. Freezes Mitchell. Mitchell going to the pitch man. Then you see a Red Raider slip. We talked about that wet turf. And, you know, it's one of the things when you put 8 or 9 guys in the box when you're playing up. If somebody breaks one through the secondary, there isn't too many guys to beat. That time Carroll was able to break one long. But his conditioning over in the off season is really what's really made him into a much better quarterback. He ran long distance 2 days a week, put in a lot of off season training in the weight room, went to the Buena quarterback camp, threw about 4 times a week, strength and conditioning with Mr. DiBiase. So this is a kid that really worked out extremely hard and is benefiting from all that hard work. We talk about, and a lot of coaches talk about, that games aren't won in September, October, and November. They're won during the off season. Carroll's a product of that philosophy.
Harry will kick it away. Long kick, angled, and this will find its way as a touchback. So 20th touchback of the season for Perry. Paulsboro now starting at their 21, 22, and 20-yard line, respectively. So that's something that West Deptford really wanted to ensure, that Paulsboro did not have a short field tonight. They've done a nice job of that.
You have 2 really good field goal kickers and place kickers. Even Palomini, I believe he has 18 touchbacks himself, is what they had mentioned. So and when these guys are doing that, 13 touchbacks. I love the sign language. Thanks for the help. I thought he said 18. I thought I heard him say 18. I'm going with 18. I'm stinking behind 18.
Don't let the facts get in the way.
I think he said 18.
Pitch. And Mears now into the secondary. Mears stretches, and he'll be close to a first down.
You see big Hester. They said he's 300 pounds. He's really 280. What he does is, along with this offensive line, is they get out front. Nice block there. Looked like that was Jerry Cosgrove, the junior offensive guard, hitting out, throwing a block, and it wasn't much. They weren't able to pick up much, but this is an offensive unit that lifts up front in the trenches. Probably the battle all season long for both these teams. Probably the toughest opponent that they're going to face.
1st and 10, and Mears shut down after a pickup of 2 or 3.
I know Manasquan has some players up there, but I don't know if they would have any player like the Silvestro and also Hester, the combination of those two big bodies. I know there's some guys up there, 6'5", 6'6", some big kids, but this Paulsboro line is terrific.
2nd down. Hodges has not been afraid to throw the ball tonight. High formation for the Red Raiders in the pitch. And not much there for Siobhan Mears.
Angel Martinez, Carbone coming back, a linebacker, Young, Murdoch up front. That's a great core on the interior of that defense. That's where it starts. If you're able to stop the run up the middle and force everything to the outside, you have the speed come up from the linebacker and cornerback positions, you're going to play pretty good defense. And West Deptford prides itself on the offense and scoring a lot of points, but I think this year defense has kept this team as one of the top. As Clark Folsom called it, a rebuilding year for the Eagles.
Hodges 2 for 3 on the night, and again flushed out of the pocket. Hodges dancing around, trying to find space, still on his feet, still escaping. Hodges, 1st down. What a great effort, and he's still not down.
Wow, amazing, absolutely amazing. Now this just goes to prove, teams are watching, you have to be able to not give up on this kid. Make sure you wrap him up and then have some help from your friends, because if you give up on the play, he's going to make you miss. Look at all the moves he's going to make. I mean, look at that. He's absorbing that type of a hit and being able to slip off of it. Terrific job. What an unbelievable individual effort.
Stephon Archie finally holding on to his ankle and stopping Hodges, but not before that impressive 1st down. 8:20 left for the Red Raiders. They're driving. This drive started at the 20. Mears spinning. Mears still on his feet. No whistle has blown. Wow, what athleticism and tremendous flexibility.
I mean, this is unbelievable. These guys just refuse to go down. Watch Mears stay on his feet. And West Deptford thought he was down. Watch him stay on his feet here. Looks like he's going to go down. Keeps his balance. Still up. Not down. There's knees not down there.
Nope.
Great job by the refs also not to blow the whistle.
It looks like one of those radio remote control cars that just keeps spinning around. Keep going.
Yeah. Or a weeble wobble.
Yeah. 1st and 10, I formation, Red Raiders. 2 receivers split right for Hodges, and Hodges will hand it off this time, changing things up as he goes to Carter.
Yeah, weebles wobble, but they don't
fall
down.
You know, this has to be disheartening to a defense when they think that they've tackled him not once, not twice, but 3 times, and you start scratching your head saying, what do we have to do?
Well, you make sure you wrap up and you don't quit on the play. You know, everyone's got to come in. Once a guy, especially with a guy like Hodges, once somebody might have him, you still got to continue to go after him because he'll slip out of tackles.
Hodges, quick drop, throws and out, and hooks up and finds Mitchell.
I just really like Mitchell, a senior, 5'11", 175, terrific hands. He's really developed into a nice player for the Raiders and a go-to guy for Hodges. You can see Hodges there. I mean, I'm talking about him being slippery and elusive, but also he's 6'2", 190 pounds. That's why he's going to bounce off of some tackles.
Probably 4 down territory, 3rd down and 1 for Hodges. He has Carter and Mears in the backfield. 9 men in the box for the Eagles. They'll pitch, and Mears will have enough for the first.
Ball's out.
Ball's loose. Who has it?
Silvestro.
It's Paulsboro.
Yeah, he saw the fumble. That ball was definitely out, but terrific hustle by number 45 to get on the ball. Mears going to shoot to the outside and pitch. Go to the strength of the Red Raiders. You see Silvestro leading the way. Carbone strips the ball out, but Silvestro, after finishing or just finishing out the play, making sure that Paulsboro retains possession.
Clock continues to move. We approach the 6-minute mark. Paulsboro driving once again. 30-yard line for the Red Raiders. And it'll be Carter. And Carter bowls his way forward for 2 or 3.
Carter's in. I mean, Hamilton's a guy that's played a lot during the season. Hamilton has dealt with some injuries through the course of the year. Jeff Hamilton's a senior, 5'9", 185. But Carter's a good-looking player as a sophomore. You look at him, you look at Hodges. They certainly have some talent that'll be back here for the next couple of years, and that's nothing new to Paulsboro or West Deptford.
Handoff to Mears. Mears trying to buy time, finding space, and exploiting it close to another first down. Sean, this has been a well-played game, crisply played first half. We have yet to see a penalty flag.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's the time of the season that, you know, especially with the focus of both teams, you're not going to see too many guys jumping off sides. They're going to be paying attention. They realize that the minuscule things that are going to happen in this game could result in either who wins or loses.
3rd down and 1. Hodges keeps. Hodges around tackle, and what a great tackle made there. Hodges, he cut it inside, would have had the first down, went outside, got gritty, but still stretched enough before being tackled. It looked to be Jason Short.
Okay, he's just going to get to the outside, and you're right, Short comes up and makes a terrific shoestring tackle. The cornerback holding on. That's just got to hit the guy low, make sure that Hodges does not slip off you. And again, the balance of these guys is what scares you. They're able to keep their balance. They have great vision upfield.
One thing, as Hodges now back to pass. Again, escapes, has a man across the middle. It's Silvestro. It's caught. Touchdown. Hodges, with that tremendous escapability, buys time and hits the senior tight end across the middle for a 20-yard touchdown to cap the 80-yard drive. Palomini to attempt the point after to tie this game. We're tied at 7.
Alex Silvestro is going to find space in the middle of the field, but you're right, Rob. That play was created by Hodges buying time in the pocket. Zach Smith is going to get a rush. You can't just grab him with one arm. See that right there? He just tries to grab him. He fights that off. And you give him this much time, receivers are going to find openings. Nice job by Hodges. I'll tell you what, they should be excited about this kid. He's 6'2", 190 pounds. He has a terrific arm. We've already seen him go up top. But one of the things that he does, he looks downfield extremely well. And I mean, even when he's moving around, buying that time, he's able to look up and find receivers.
One of the big numbers on that drive, 6:50 in time. Glenn Howard said one of the keys to today is we have to keep our defense off the field. They've had 2 protracted drives, have had the better of the possession tonight, and despite that, we're tied at 7, but he's going to have a fresh defensive unit in that second half. Hodges, quite an evening thus far. In addition to some nifty scrambling, 4 for 5 through the air for 40 yards, and of course, 1 touchdown pass for you fantasy high school players.
I don't think I played him this weekend.
No, it's a mistake. A dribbler. And West Deptford will come away with it and just falling on it. Steve Flannery, that was kind of interesting. He thought about it for a while, said, I think I'll just call it a night right here.
Steve figured I'm not much of a runner. That's why they put me on the line.
That's why my first number's a 5.
Yeah, not going anywhere. Here you see the career records. Making of legends. Glenn Howard, 186 and 31. Not too bad. And Clyde Folsom, 147, 57 and 5. Look at the winning percentage. Combination of the two together. I mean, that's just
what that means is if either one of these guys is coaching, then bet on them.
Yes.
Not literally.
Put them in your fantasy coaching lineup.
Young showing some of the strength and driving. Big pickup for Cordell Young's little brother, who's not so little. 215-pound senior.
These other two guys may get the touchdowns, but Young is the workhorse. So you see him there dragging guys. A big, strong kid, terrific blocker, excellent linebacker. This is a two-way player that's really a key to this West Deptford team.
Now, he drove through Zach Greenwald. Now, Greenwald is a freshman, 5'11", 195 pounds. He's someone to keep an eye on in the next couple of years.
There's a few of them. And there's a few of them over. This is a young team, but they have some veterans mixed in. Looking at, coming into the season, you thought of Paulsboro, you knew Silvestro and Hester were the big names. You kind of thought they had a lot coming back until you really looked at the roster and said, you know what? They got a lot of new faces.
Carroll, quick drop, flushed out of the pocket and sacked.
Bobby Barnes, there's a senior, 6'3", 265. You see big number 57 wrapping up. Looking for the slant, not there. Tries to get around, and Barnes swallows him.
Carroll looked like he lost a little footing there as well, trying to escape Barnes.
Well, they're in that spot in the field that's a little messy down there.
Second down. There you see Perry warming. Well out of range, of course, now. Ball at the 42-yard line of the Eagles. 2:30 left in this first half, and Carroll again flushed out of the pocket and dropped. Carroll Silvestro teams up with Grimes and makes a Carroll sandwich.
Yeah, look at all dirt in his face. Turf. That nasty stuff in the middle of the field. He's going to try to sprint out here. Hester gets penetration, forces him to the inside, and Grimes comes from the back. Silvestro up from the side at that left defensive end position. Good penetration that time. Good surge by the defensive unit.
Carroll again, the quick drop. He'll throw it up. Working against Mitchell, and that falls incomplete, as Paolini had to become a defender and pushed Mitchell as he elevated to bring this ball down. Watch this as Mitchell got the worst of this collision.
Yeah, Carroll doesn't do this much. I mean, the way they run the football, he doesn't have to throw. Mitchell's just going to camp under this. Paolini does a nice job of breaking that up. But you see that arm coming down. You always get nervous about that. In fact, that's earlier this season. The Glassboro with Ralph Carr, who is now playing on the defense for the Bulldogs, was hurt in one of our contest games.
Mitchell, a great individual effort, but Perry gets the punt away, and this will roll and finally picked up by Hodges. Hodges would have been wise just to let it sit. No turnover, but once again, it's like a magnet, that 21-yard line of Paulsboro, as that's where they will start with 1:32 left. Each drive is started between the 20 and 22-yard line tonight for the Red Raiders.
So I'm sure you had some turkey and ham, right? Speaking of ham, look, John Cobb appears on the screen. John Cobb, West Deptford girls soccer coach. Terrific coach. We're joking around because we're friends with him, but John Cobb is a terrific girls soccer coach. They got a lot of good coaches in both these schools.
Bouncing off tackles, still on his feet, and brought down, importantly, inbounds by the Eagles as the clock continues to move inside of 1:20. And it looks like Paulsboro may just be content to run the football, take it to the locker room, and start fresh in the second half.
For Paulsboro fans, please be aware that a second concession stand has been set up just down the playground.
Inside of a minute now, tied at 7, second down, about 7. Hodges will hand to Mears. Mears into the secondary. Mears still on his feet, finally brought down after the first down. So a nice pickup there as he's tackled at the 36-yard line, gain of about 14 yards.
Watch Mears, another guy who's going to keep those legs moving after the first initial contact. He has Carter, the sophomore, blocking up front. Nice block by the fullback.
Mears has had himself quite a first half, 12 carries, 95 yards. We'll see if Hodges goes to the air here, or whether Coach Howard is content to keep it on the ground and head to the locker room. 17 seconds remain with the clock ticking, and Hodges will again hand off to Mears. Mears into the secondary. Mears will spin outside, still on his feet, and finally tackled at the 45-yard line, so he has eclipsed the century mark in this first half.
Mears is running with some authority right now, and a terrific spin move. Waits for the hole, terrific block, and that time again, Carter, the sophomore fullback, with a nice block. Good spin move there. Gets to the sideline, gets out of bounds. Now, you have time to launch one. Drop Hodges back. He can buy enough time for himself. Try to find Mitchell or somebody streaking.
Mears with that 19-yard gain, 13 carries, 114 yards on the evening. That's something you rarely see against this vaunted West Deptford defense.
Yeah, this year the West Deptford defense has just played extremely well. At the point of attack, they got Murdoch and the gang and Carbone. They're just terrific. Next week, another good one. The St. Paulsboro team hosting Glassboro.
A rematch of one of the best, if not the best games we've ever had here on Channel 5. The Group 1 South Jersey final. You'll see it on Monday the 4th and Thursday the 7th at 8 o'clock. The Bulldogs back at the site where it happened last year, Paulsboro.
I think Glassboro's itching to get back on that field. I know some of the seniors from last year would love to get another crack at Paulsboro, but Haggerty's going to lead the Bulldogs in.
Hodges this time having a tough time escaping. He does pitch it, finds Mears, and Mears will be tackled out of bounds. And that's where things will end in the first half. A well-played first half, an evenly played first half, and the score reflects that. We head to the locker room, tied at 7. Welcome back to West Deptford. Torrey Palomini about to kick off as we start the third quarter. Paulsboro, West Deptford tied at 7. The traditional Thanksgiving rivals in an evenly played first half, and we're underway. Low line drive hits the West Deptford Eagle player, and it looks like Paulsboro has fallen on the football.
West Deptford recovered, but that was playing. Palomini just drills it right at a West Deptford up man. It bounced off him. I don't know if Murdoch was able to fall in it or maybe Martinez, but somebody was able to jump on the football, heads up play. But a chance there for Paulsboro. Goes against them now because now they give up good field position to West Deptford. You see the Raiders' own time of possession, 15-15, 8:45. Couple of long drives, but even on the scoreboard, all tied at 7.
Hand off to Archie. Archie finding his blockers and picking up 4.
Running up the back of Murdoch. He's going to pave the way for about 5 or 6 yards.
Second down and 5.
See the stats. Paulsboro with the decided edge, and West Deptford, getting that big run from Matt Carroll. That's the lion's share of those 91 yards. A couple key stats there. No turnovers, no penalties. Into the secondary, Archie continuing to fight and picking up the first down. getting back to that opening kick or to open this third quarter, Sean. Remember, Haddonfield very successful against West Deptford with their onside kicks. So Howard trying to take a page out of the Bulldogs book.
Well, that's one thing with this great game at the end of the year is you're able to look at a ton of film. You're able to see what worked against both teams throughout the year. And you'd be surprised to see that the games have not been much closer over the years. I mean, this is the first close game that we've had with these two teams, although there's so much excitement, so much hype for this game. It just has not panned out. But this one at 7-7, this is the one that may break that trend.
Andrew Young, the ball carrier, he picks up a big chunk, about 6, second down and 4.
What a big play by Matt Carroll in the first half. The explosion that went up the sideline for the first touchdown of the game.
Archie
with stiff arm. Mitchell staying with him, though. He drags him down for a couple of yards.
So a third down for West Deptford.
That's where you still, I mean, you have a lot of options here with Archie. Jimmy Owens, very quiet tonight. You see him, number 8, the freshman. A lot of excitement about him, but you can also give it to Young straight up the middle. So still a lot of options here on that third and short play. Paulsboro probably load up in the box.
9 men in the box. The handoff, the Young hit, shakes one tackle, and he'll be shy of that first down. So decision time for Clyde Folsom and the Eagles.
Well, I think you said something about Zach Greenwald in the first half. Well, here's the freshman here, knifing through the defense. Excuse me, that wasn't Greenwald, but he does clean up on the play. Here you see the freshman coming in, number 43. The initial hit was by Jordan Cooper. Senior comes up, makes the hit, stops him short. Now they're gonna, looks like they're gonna go for it, or a timeout.
Timeout, West Deptford.
A critical fourth down. They want to talk this one over. I know points are hard to come by when you have an opportunity. You're on the opposing team's side of the ball, side of the field. You want to make the right call here on fourth down. And Rob, you can see that Paulsboro just doesn't respect the arm of Carroll. And it's not that he can't throw, it's that he doesn't throw much. And when you don't throw the ball that much, you're not given the opportunity, you're not going to get good at it. And, you know, the kid's got a good arm. He's got all the mechanics to do it. He just doesn't do it much.
Paulsboro defeating Barnegat and Woodbury in the playoffs coming into this game. 68-13 combined score. They have really put a whooping on their opponents in those last 6 games. 9-1, a lot of momentum coming into tonight's game against West Deptford.
Yeah, and you see the big numbers that they cleaned up at the end of the year, 25, 30 points. And I talked to a lot of reporters down the sideline. They said this is a totally different Paulsboro team. I agree with them. With the development of the quarterback and Hodges, it looks like a brand new team out there.
Don't be surprised if you see Carroll throw out of this formation. High formation.
Zach Smith's a good target.
In motion. Carroll. They'll keep. And there's a penalty flag here. We may have a legal motion call against West Deptford. So that may change Clyde Folsom's plans entirely and have them punt this away. He would have had the first down quite easily.
Yeah, Ryan Clark and Pacitti did a nice job sealing the corner, but it's all going to be negated.
We have an illegal shift. On the offense, 5 yards from the previous spot. Repeat, fourth down.
So Perry and the special teams unit will come out for West Deptford. They'll try to pit Paulsboro deep in their own end.
You can see motion by the Eagles.
Call was a legal shift.
Oh, illegal shift, okay. I was going to say, I didn't see him motion there.
So Perry will punt it away to Hodges. Remember that Paulsboro, every time has gotten the ball between their 20 and 22-yard line. Perry, a low line drive, and this one will be down inside the 10 at the 5. So Perry with a successful punt, pinning them back. 9:14 left, third quarter. Tied at 7 at West Deptford. Welcome back to West Deptford High School. Rob Christ along with Sean Leary. Third quarter, Paulsboro with their first possession in the third quarter, and a fumble slips out of the hand of Hodges, and a Red Raider in the right place at the right time. Hodges has been so elusive throughout the evening, but there have been a couple Red Raiders fumbles. Each time Paulsboro able to pounce on them.
Yeah, I was just thinking about how he's holding that ball out there. It's kind of loose. You can see it. Look at that ball kind of out there, and then nice job just getting the arm in. It looked like that was Angel Martinez, but big Bobby Barnes is going to fall on it to retain possession. They still picked up 8 or 9 yards, so they have a 2nd and short now.
Silvestro will reset with Mears in the backfield for Hodges. Mears has nowhere to go. Big hit laid out by West Deptford's defense. So no gain, 3rd and short.
If we can roll this back, because I want you to watch Zach Smith, how he stays at home. This is why you fear Paulsboro so much. And with Mears, watch Zach Smith. All right, and he's able to come crashing in, but you respect the fact that they can break it to the outside. You kind of stay at home and make sure that Mears doesn't cut back across the field and break one on you. And that's when you're playing Paulsboro. When you look at guys like Hodges and Mears, you have to respect that playmaking ability and play your position, stay in your gaps.
The pitch, Mears, and he is whacked in the backfield. Great defensive stand by West Deptford will force Paulsboro to punt it away.
Yeah, it was really important for them. It was 2nd and short. You try to pick up that 1st down. At least if you can move the ball a little bit more upfield, give Silvestro an opportunity to try and get at least a couple of more yards before he boosts one out of his own end zone. Now, Rob, we talked about this last week. Send them. All 10. Let's have the returner back.
Paolini back to receive the punt of Silvestro. Silvestro has illustrated his punting prowess. He'll hustle it away. A high, short kick will bounce at the 36 and take a Paulsboro roll. That will be down at the 47-yard line. So a good punt by Silvestro. Not only long, but not returnable.
I think Coach Folsom, great play call there. You send all 10. If anything else, so what's that do is as a punter, you're also, you got to respect the rush. You're thinking they're coming after me. Maybe you have to get it out a little quick. And that's why you might have a shank or, a lot of good things can happen, I believe, when you try and go after the punter in high school football.
West Deptford 10-0 coming into tonight. 2 of their 3 last wins against Haddonfield. 1 in conference, 1 in the playoffs. 1st down and 10 for the Eagles, and they will keep Carroll into the secondary, and that's the play that broke Paulsboro's back in the 1st half for the touchdown.
I just love the way Carroll's running the ball right now. They're just not being the leader of that offense, but also a major contributor. Scoring a couple of touchdowns of his own. Of course, the big run early on kind of froze Mitchell and was able to scoot into that secondary. No one was at home.
Archie will have enough for the 1st down.
Pacitti down there. Murdoch, them guys are getting downfield and blocking. You could see. Nice run by Archie, also breaking a couple of arm tackles until it takes a trio of Paulsboro defenders to bring him to the ground. Look at Zach Smith there, number 87. Archie, number 2. The guys that'll probably play a little college football next fall.
1st down and 10 for the Eagles. Carroll will hand it off, and not a whole lot there, maybe 2 or 3. Sean, you can tell a lot about a school and what kind of operation they run by their athletic director. They've got one of the best here, Tim Camerata. He knows. He has that 6th sense when you're thirsty, when you're hungry. He's got you a lot of food here, nachos, everything. It's beautiful.
Oh, easy. I never got any food here.
You just have to make. You just have to hint, and then it
nachos. Look at this.
Look at this. They're throwing
hot
it
dogs.
What a beautiful thing, at Camerata. 2nd down, and now Carroll into the secondary. Wow. The first chorus from Camerata is fantastic. Wait till he brings on the other stuff.
How'd you get the burger?
I've got class. You know, honestly, I don't know if you know this, Sean, but Tim Camerata was a broadcaster. He and I worked as broadcasters together back in 1987. 20 years ago, he and I worked together as broadcasters. That was back when you were only like 40. Third down, I formation for the Eagles. And the whistle blows.
Yeah, I was about 40 inches long because I was a baby back then. West Deptford calls timeout.
Timeout, West Deptford. 4:35 left in this third quarter. And now let's take a look at the standout, Sean. I'll let you do the talking here because this is your baby.
Well, we got SUNY Cortland with, with a great record. Look, we brought up the wrong graphic. There's the right graphic. It's staying out 7:30 on Tuesday, 10 p.m. on Wednesday in the Woodbury area. Woodbury Comcast featuring West Deptford's own Zach Smith and Paulsboro's Alex Silvestro. Both those guys were part of the standouts. Local reality. Got athletes competing in all different sports. A little swimming. This week it was volleyball and a water race. Next week, some more exciting action on the standout. 7:30 on Tuesday, 10 o'clock on Wednesday. Yo, seriously? Yeah. I think it would be real cool if you shared your half a hot dog or half a hamburger, and I'll share my half a hot dog.
I'm not sure cool would be the word that I would use if we shared each other's food. But
just get cut it in half. That's all. Rip it off.
No problem. Third down and short. Carroll will keep. Into the secondary, nice cut move. Down at the 15-yard line.
Again, those guards are getting out there. You see the big Philippa City, Murdoch on that time, getting out, pulling. That's what the West Deptford linemen really pride themselves on. They work out extremely hard in the offseason, but also the speed. They have to, especially in this wing tee, you have to be able to get to the outside, block downfield, spring the big play because you're not going to pass downfield too often.
First and 10, Eagles knocking on the door once again with 4:10 left in this third quarter. The handoff to Archie, big hit laid out. Wow.
Yeah, that's a deke leader. That looked like it had been Jordan Cooper, yeah, the senior coming up, putting his stick. Looked like that was Archie. Watch his hit. You're looking for an opening space. And you don't see 42 come in, but he just drills right into your chest. Nice job by Jordan Cooper. And Archie, I don't know if he was thrown out of the game or upset. We didn't really get a call on that, but highly upset. He's the one that
he may have been.
He's the one that took the hit.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate actually what may have happened out there, but we can have some time to cool off. Carroll across the middle finds Smith, and Smith just shy of the touchdown.
Well, big play by one standout. Silvestro with the touchdown earlier. Zach Smith now pulling one in, just short. And it looked like Carroll's going to hesitate. Watch Carroll hesitate on this pass. But once he's able to get it over the linebackers, using Zach Smith's 6'3" height and leaping ability. He's a basketball player as well to go up and get that football. Nice pass by Carroll. Again, this kid can throw the football. He just doesn't have to many times. West Deptford in that wing tee. There's a lot of running.
Touchdown Young. West Deptford takes advantage of the short field and moves up by 6.
Careful with the celebration.
Sean, they just powered through there. Andrew Young right behind the big line of the Eagles. And
yeah,
again, Paulsboro trying to improve their stake field position-wise, unable to do so on that earlier drive. West Deptford, short field, big results.
Clearing out the left side of that defensive line and just powering with the big fella right behind there, 215 pounds, barreling his way into the end zone. No way to stop him. No one there at all. I mean, it's just a great job by the left side of that defensive line, or offensive line, excuse me, So you got Lapacity right there, who's done a good job all night. And Young springs himself into the end zone, showing his brother he's not the only one that knows where the end zone is.
47 yards, 358. Andrew Young with the answer. 14-7, 2:49 left in this third quarter. West Deptford's last drive was stopped by that penalty, and Sean, that was the first penalty we saw in the evening. It looked like it may have been a big one, but now West Deptford's rebounded, and they'll be kicking it away to the Red Raiders, who have really been pinned back in their own end all night long.
That's another thing. We talked about the special teams and how much Glenn Howard believes in special teams and practicing on it. Well, West Deptford has had some pretty good kickers recently. You know, Brownell now at Temple, Jake Brownell, who was an unbelievable kicker for West Deptford. And you have Perry now, who's going to the University of Delaware.
Perry's kick is long, and it will be fielded at the 4-yard line. Hole quickly closes, and Paulsboro's Braxton will give Paulsboro, believe it or not, their best starting field position of the evening.
And you know what? That's a product of, you know, Perry's, and I'm not saying West Deptford coaching staff has nothing to do with Perry's success, but if you think about it, all the success that Perry's having tonight is really due to a Paulsboro coach, and Dominic Antonini, who he was a kicker who was with the Jets at one point. He comes back home to coach with Paulsboro. And not only is he helping his kids, Dominic's a guy who loves helping everybody learn how to kick, really loves making field goal kickers, you know, become better players, and he's worked with Perry.
Hodges throws underneath, falls incomplete. He's helped Perry, of course, both Palominis, Del Thomas. He's got quite a stable of kickers.
I mean, the list goes on. Ryan Pinto, who we saw boot a game-winning field goal for Kingsway earlier in the season. Basically, Del Thomas, like you had mentioned for Clearview, if you see a good kicker in Gloucester County, chances are he worked out with Dominic Antonini. I think they call it the Breakfast Club or something like that during the summertime. I hope I'm getting that right. But they work out during the summertime, and a lot of kids are going on and going to some big-time schools, and a lot of it comes from Dominic Antonini.
Inside screen falls incomplete. And that was a play that just seemed like both Hodges and Mitchell were on different pages. And a Paulsboro team that's gone twice to the air here will be forced most likely to go to the air again. It's a critical third down because Paulsboro wants to move the football. West Deptford really benefiting from the short field. Hodges now 5 for 8 on the evening. Play action, a lot of time. Hodges going deep, has Mitchell. Caught and tackled at the 30-yard line.
30-yard line.
Mitchell got past the secondary. Hodges hit him in stride.
Yeah, it looked like that was a mistake by Matt Carroll as he bid on the play, and Mitchell got behind him. Mitchell with blazing speed.
42-yard hookup. Hodges to Mitchell, and Paulsboro rebounding off of the first 2 incompletes, coming up with the big play. 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line. Hodges hands to Mears. Mears dancing into the secondary, cut down after a pickup of about 7.
You know, we've seen a lot from Hodges tonight. We saw his escape ability, his running ability, the way he's elusive, makes people miss. We've seen his arm strength. And we also saw his touch on that play, too. You know, 40-yard shot downfield, right into the arms of Mitchell. That ball was placed perfectly for Mitchell to come down with it over the middle of the field. That's a big-time pass.
2nd down and 3 now for Hodges and the Red Raiders. Inside of a minute 30. Hodges will keep. Cuts it inside, hit, and looks like he'll have the 1st down.
And that time, it's a good decision. Yeah, this is one when you look at the sideline. It wasn't a big play. Didn't go for much. But this is a good decision right here. You're looking upfield, and you have the pitch man to your left. And you realize you're probably not going to get a lot on this play. But a lot of young quarterbacks will go and try to pitch that out to make the big play. There he knew he wasn't going to be able to get much yardage, but he just holds it himself to make sure he doesn't make the mistake pitching it out while he's being rushed. And that's where you get problems. When guys try to make that play a little too late. You could also make it get a big play on that, but that's the maturity we talked about.
Pitch to Mears. Mears cut down. Not much there. He may have picked up one and one only as we're inside of 50 seconds remaining in this third quarter. They've alternated scores. West Deptford on top 14-7.
Oh, what a good game. You're right. Just the one penalty tonight. Well played. Excellent job by both teams who are getting after it. No dirty playing. I mean, it's just a great rivalry and one of the better games that we've seen over the years.
Hodges back to pass, has Silvestro, holds on Silvestro, touchdown! What a tremendous individual effort by the big senior. And Silvestro, powered with all 230 pounds and 6'4" frame to stretch out on the 19-yard touchdown reception. Paulsboro back to within one.
Yeah, he's 6'4", you said, 230 pounds. He's not only big, he's probably one of the best athletes I've ever seen. He can do anything.
High snap, it's blocked, but enough to get it through. So off of a West Deptford Eagle, and yet the kick powered through the uprights. An important point as they're tied at 14.
Here's these big guys. They'll catch a ball and, you hit them and they go down. But look at the elusiveness by him. He's moving around, getting past a couple of guys, using that power to get into the end zone. Gets turned around and catches the ball. I mean, he's such a gifted athlete. Being able to watch him doing this whole standout thing, Rob, I'm telling you, there is nothing that this kid couldn't compete in and be a Division I player in any sport. He is just an unbelievable athlete.
Hodges 7 for 10 on the evening with a pair of touchdown passes. Of course, the big play on that drive, the hookup on 3rd down and 10 from Hodges to Mitchell. And that really changed the complexion of the drive and of this game. But getting back to that last play, Silvestro's reception, that was a great job by Archie. But again, physically, the matchup wasn't to Archie's favor. He did what he could, and Silvestro illustrated not only his strength, but his athleticism, because he maintained his balance and was able to get that football over the goal line to tie it at 14.
Yeah, I really believe that he's going to succeed. Some of these guys that you see, they play high school football. We'll get to that after this play. They're going to bring it back. Looks like there might have been a false start. Some other problem. But you see some of these guys, they're excellent at high school football. And a lot of people say, are they Division I? And a lot of people may think so because you see them at high school level and they're it's like
we have encroachment on the kicking team. 5 yards, re-kick.
They're going to re-kick here. But a guy like Silvestro is so athletic. At 6'4", he has the intent. You already have the size. And a lot of people are saying, producing Division I players, is this team or that team making Division I players? Is this kid a Division I player? Division I players, they have the intangibles. They have great speed. They have great size. They have something that sets them apart. Silvestro not only has great size, he's an unbelievable athlete. That's why I think he's going to succeed. And he's a hard worker. Number one, you got to be able to work hard in college football.
Palomini's kick after their Paulsboro offsides penalty, fielded by Archie down inside the 30-yard line. Good coverage by the Red Raiders special teams.
One of the guys that stands out is a guy I talked to. Let's take a look at this play. Archie's going to gain some yard. He's going to try to get behind that wall, and nice job by Cooper. It seems like he's been all over the field. I saw Anthony Scarrato at halftime and talked to him briefly. And he's over at Penn State making a huge impact with that team. And you knew that kid was going to do well at the college level. Number one, he's a smart kid he really cares about. He's a terrific athlete, but he worked hard. He was a great leader. And those type of kids you see succeed.
Carroll keeps once again, cuts it inside. He'll be cut down after 3 or 4 yards, and that will bring an end to this third quarter. Well played quarter once again as Young scored, Silvestro answered, tying it at 14. That's where we stand as we head to break. Welcome back to West Deptford. Carroll's slant pass finds Smith. Smith still on his feet across midfield. Smith outmuscled the defender for the reception.
The big guys are going after each other. Silvestro with a big play. Zach Smith comes back and watch the concentration by him. Thrown behind him. Ball's tipped up, but Zach, good hands, is able to pull it down.
It looks like it may have caromed off of Braxton's hands into Smith. A fortuitous carom for the Eagles, and they continue to drive. Jimmy Young with one of his rare carries this night.
Jimmy Owens.
Jimmy Owens.
You're combining the two.
Yes.
That would make one heck of a running back.
This is true.
You combine Young's size with Owens' speed. And you got Darren McFadden from Arkansas. Watch this face mask here. Yep.
Wow.
Excellent job by our truck spotting that out. That should have been a 15-yarder. Nothing caught on the field.
Archie runs in between the tackles and goes nowhere. And all of a sudden, the intensity level here has picked up considerably.
The game has been played so well by both teams that the refs actually forgot they got the flags in their pocket. Because, I mean, both teams have done an excellent job of not making mistakes, hurting themselves.
Key third down for the Eagles. 3rd and 11. Ball spotted at midfield. Carroll, quick drop, throws it deep for Smith, and that ball well out of bounds. Perry and the punting unit will come on for the Eagles.
You know, there's a lot of people, you know, you see it from up here and you see it in slow motion. But we're watching this game. A lot of people up here watching the game. A lot of people miss that face mask. You can see as the plays happening down there. Also, referees can miss it as well. We needed the help of slow mo for you and I to be able to see that.
Is that your nickname for John Mondella?
Yeah, slow mo down in the chuck. You beat me to that one.
Perry punts it away. And this once again will be down inside the 20. So Paulsboro all night long has had a long field. This drive no different.
Yeah, they've had to move the ball, and they've done so. Hodges has done a terrific job directing that offense. There's the Paulsboro side. That's just one of the, it's one of them side bleachers. Oh, we got a shot of the side one. The middle one's full. There's people all around the outside of the fence. Big crowd. There's the main one there.
There's the West Deptford side packed to the gills.
Oh yeah, there's a big crowd here.
1st and 10, Red Raiders. Hodges keeps, dances, nowhere to go, spins, and a whole lot going on for a loss.
Well, he'll give you that because with him and a guy that plays that way, Rob, he's going to sometimes give you -4, -5, and get tracked down. But what he also gives you is the ability to stay, keep a play alive, and make a big play. Somebody will streak down the middle of the field or the sidelines, he'll find him, and then it'll equate for a quick touchdown. So it's give and take, and you don't mind having a quarterback like that if he's able to get some quick touchdowns for you.
2nd and 13, Hodges fakes, has time, throws, finds Mitchell. Mitchell will be brought down at about the 16. So Mitchell tried to elude a tackle, moved back a couple of yards, and gained about 4. Probably have about 9 to go now on 3rd down.
Yeah, it looked like that might have been Denisi on the play. Chris Denisi, older brother Ed, who played here, graduated 2005, now going to Wesley College.
Third and 9. Hodges gets the big rush, and Smith knocks it down. The screen pass was set up for Mears, but Smith would have none of it.
Well, the two big names for both teams, Zach Smith coming into the year along with Alex Silvestro, being talked about as two possible Division I type players. Zach probably Division I AA, right around there. Both having big nights. You see this matchup between them, the real staying out. Silvestro, 3 catches, 40 yards and 2 touchdowns. Smith, 2 catches, 33.
Move up, coach! Move him up!
So Zach playing pretty good defense. He had the big catch at set up the touchdown by Young on 3rd down.
Silvestro's had a nice night punting the football. This no different, as it's down inside the 49-yard line.
Silvestro doing a good job of getting that ball out of there, but I just really like the idea of Folsom making him hurry, making the quick decision, forcing and pressuring the ball. It's like in basketball, like you're forcing the pressure, get the fast break in motion, get up the court. That's the way Folsom coaches his team, is put the pressure on the team.
Silvestro has done a fine job punting this football. Always punts in and around 40 yards and rarely returnable. 8:20 left. Tied at 14 here at West Deptford. Eagles with an unblemished mark of 10-0. Young battling and may have picked up 1. Should be at the 50-yard line, 2nd and 9. We mentioned that Paulsboro will take on Glassboro next week. We'll have that for you on Channel 5 and a rematch of last year's South Jersey Group 1 Championships. There you see John Cobb, who we talked about before. He wanted me to make a special mention for his son, Ty Cobb, who's also here. Little 7-year-old. There you see. Game of the week, Monday, December the 4th, Thursday night as well, each at 8 o'clock. Carroll keeps. Carroll eludes 1 tackler, now forced to the sideline, and he'll pick up about 3.
Yeah, it's good to mention little Ty. I knew he had a little accident during the summertime and came back strong. You see Carroll jumping over people, trying to find a hole. Carbone getting out front, jumping around.
Third and 6 for the Eagles. Critical 3rd down with 7:32 left. A short field once again for West Deptford. They have certainly won the field position battle. Carroll, quick drop, now flushed out. Silvestro slings him down. Well, as if to answer that graphic, Silvestro comes up with the big sack of Carroll, and the West Deptford Eagles will be forced to punt it away.
The big fellas have come to play. Zach Smith and Alex Silvestro, both defensively on the other side of the ball on offense, have been key in this game. Silvestro, that's just a sight you don't want to see if you're Carroll. You try to go around to that corner, and there you see Alex Silvestro with nobody on him. There's absolutely nothing you can do in that situation.
Perry, high snap, and gets kind of the rugby kick away. Bounces, and Mears will let it roll back to the 12-yard line.
Now see, that's a perfect example. And, you know, you get the high snap, Rob. It's a low kick. if you had a couple of guys coming up the middle of the field, and I'm not saying he didn't send them, I wasn't able to see on that play, but you have guys coming up the middle of the field, you might get the block. We saw that here last week with West Deptford. They brought pressure up the middle, a low kick by Haddonfield, and they were able to get the block.
Well, in this instance, Perry was getting some pressure, but showed some elusiveness on his own and wisely kind of sent it away rugby style. 39-yard punt, no return. And once again, Paulsboro backed up deep in their own end with 6:40 left. Hodges pitches to Mears. Mears cuts it back inside, and a nice pickup for Mears. Paulsboro would love nothing more than to have a long drive here, eating up substantial clock.
Yeah, Hodges, watch a pitch here. The fake, pitch out to the high. Nice job by Mears. Good hands to get his hands up and catch it. And you always tell your running back, you got to make the first person miss, and then we'll try to block up front for you. Runs into Angel Martinez, 260-pound Angel Martinez.
That was a nice play by Mears, because oftentimes you're looking downfield as opposed to looking the ball in your hands. So he made a nice catch and a 6-yard pickup. Handoff, small seam, and Mears will be close to the first down.
Nice job that time. Looked like that was Corey Cooper, number 52. As watch number 52 here. Nice job blocking by him. You can see him there on 45. That's Batdorf. Opens up the hole for Mears, and Mears is able to exploit it. Picking up a first down for the Red Raiders. You see the fans are excited about what they're seeing here. All knotted up. Opportunity to avenge last year's loss to this same West Deptford team, who had Cordell Young put on quite a show.
1st and 10, Red Raiders. Down to 5:15 left in this fourth quarter, tied at 14. Mitchell in motion for the offense, and Hodges will simply hand off right up the middle.
Mears takes the handoff.
Mears, maybe 3.
Tom Murdoch on the tackle. 3-yard gain. 2nd and 7 for Paulsboro.
See some Paulsboro fans, including Steve Anishevsky, getting to be see him in the red and white jacket there, middle of your thing. I don't have the illustrator. We don't have that yet here at Comcast. But he was in the middle of the screen with the white sleeves. It's getting near his season, wrestling season and basketball season, right around the corner.
Hodges back to pass. A lot of time. Over the middle, tipped up and intercepted. Intercepted down the sideline and tackled. Mike Carbone, who had that big game last week, comes up huge here. Hodges with a lot of time just made a big mistake.
Yeah, he was trying to go over the middle of the field, and I don't even know why he was looking in that spot, because not only was the receiver covered downfield, you had 2 underneath players for West Deptford. He just didn't see those 2, and he makes a mistake. Again, he's still learning. He's going to make mistakes. You just hope they're not too costly. Here with 4:16 left, this puts West Deptford already in field goal position.
19-yard return on the interception. A little surprised. I thought they might stay on the ground and eat up the clock, but Hodges has been very successful. Can't second guess that.
Not at all.
Archie around the end. Archie angling towards the end zone, and he is finally pushed out of bounds, and now we're going to have a penalty flag. This will be a personal foul.
Yeah, that was Hodges, probably taking out frustrations from the interception. Going to tack on a few more yards. This is going to be half the distance. Take a look at this run. Archie breaking to the outside, no one at home. John Cobb running in the background.
Okay, he runs behind somebody else. I'll never hear the end of that.
We got a dead ball. Personal foul on the defense. That's half the distance to the goal. It'll be 2nd down.
Watch the moves by Cobb here.
John,
he drops the
Watch, let this tape run too. Watch the guy in the hat. He's going to throw his own flag. Let it run, let it run, let it run. Watch this. You got flags are flying back there. Actually, that was from the referee. He threw out the wrong flag first. He got out his Kleenex.
They were throwing flags. John was dropping his.
I honestly thought it was the gentleman who was in front of Cobb throwing a white Kleenex out of his pocket. It was the referee. He's throwing anything he's got.
First and goal, West Deptford on the 1-yard line.
Well, a big turn of events off of that interception by Carbone. West Deptford almost happy not to get in the end zone there because they get to eat up more clock.
A little bit more clock, right.
3:40 left and counting. Fourth quarter, West Deptford. Hands off, Young, powers inside. Andrew Young, touchdown.
Little power football, smash mouth at its best. Give it to the big fullback. He's already had success running up the middle. Does it again for the go-ahead score here with just 3 minutes and some change remaining. Midway through that 3 minutes, 3 minutes and 30 seconds now left in the game. Paulsboro's going to have time. But capitalizing on the interception, the mistake by Hodges.
Well, Perry's kick is good, and Perry's been a big player in this game tonight because his punting has been very effective, and perhaps even more effective, his kickoffs. First, let's look at the run by Young.
Watch Young at the end of this. He's going to try to stretch that football across to make sure that he gets the ball to cross the goal line.
Flirting with disaster.
Yeah, well, he stretched it across, knew where he was, saw the line, figures I'm going to just stretch this across and hopefully we get the call. One thing that's scary about that is they don't have instant replay to see if he does get it across before it would come out. Nonetheless, Young. It's been the Young combination over the last 2 years that have sunk Paulsboro. Cordell last year, Andrew so far this year. But Hodges and company still have 3 minutes, 30 seconds to work with.
So Perry will kick it away. Paulsboro has yet to have a kickoff return outside of their 30-yard line.
You see Cobb.
He's calling his insurance agent. Listen, they don't pay me enough for this gig. Perry kicks it away, deep. And this will be playable? No, a touchback. That was misplayed by Mears.
Yeah, he knew he made a mistake there. As he comes up and grabs that before it gets to the goal line. He's able to return it. They got to march 80 yards for the tying score. One thing they have been able to do, though, is move the ball downfield. They've had a couple of long drives. Mitchell will have to be accounted for in that West Deptford secondary. Alex Silvestro over the middle of the field.
First and 10, Red Raiders.
Also, West Deptford has to pay attention to Cooper coming in the backfield. He's done that once and was wide open.
Hodges back to pass. Has time. Throws deep. Has a man. Caught.
He throws a nice ball.
Fine throw as he finds Pierce for the big gain. And the Red Raiders are moving.
Anthony Pierce is going to do about a 20 and out. Terrific throw. You see the arm strength there by Hodges, and he's been very impressive tonight.
26 yards on the hookup. 3:12 and counting. 46-yard line, first and 10. Mears still on his feet, cuts it inside. Mears cuts back and into West Deptford territory for another first down.
Good job by the left side of that offensive line Here you see Silvestro locking up with Zach Smith, the two standouts, going right at each other. Nice job by Silvestro to push Zach Smith to the outside, open up the hole for Mears.
Timeout on the field.
Yeah, Young looks like he's coming off a little shaken up.
It's an official's timeout. Young will come out of the game and have someone attend to him. The trainer over there to take a look at Young. That's a big loss for this West Deptford defense. Hopefully they'll get him back quickly. 1st and 10 for the Red Raiders. Hodges again will hand to Mears. Mears finds a seam. Mears into the secondary and still on his feet. 1st down, Red Raiders.
Again, running to the side where Alex Silvestro is. Watch Silvestro and Zach hook up again. Silvestro going up against Zach Smith. Smith trying to keep him going to the inside. Silvestro does his job. The two guys lock up. Paulsboro getting the better end of that deal as Mears cuts it back upfield. Now Smith is also supposed to contain the edge.
They're consistently running behind Silvestro. And Silvestro shifts to the wide field. And again, behind Silvestro into the secondary. Yep. And again, a big 1st down as Carter inside the 10-yard line. Every time West Deptford has scored, Paulsboro has answered right back on the very next possession. They're looking to do it here again. Spotted
and right now,
just outside the 10.
They're just going behind Silvestro. Wherever he lines up, that's where the play is going. See if Paulsboro mixes it up here and runs away from his side. If something's working, though, you keep going to the well until it doesn't work for you. Silvestro now comes in motion. He's calling timeout, though.
So Silvestro calls timeout, 1:41 left. I'd love to see a misdirection here where Hodges looks to hand off to Mears and keeps. We'll come back. What a football game here from West Deptford, as advertised. 1:41 left in this 4th quarter. West Deptford on top by 7. They wanted something too. Welcome back to West Deptford High School. 1:41 left. 1st down and 10 at the 10.
There you see Siobhan Mears and his touches. Looks like we're going back to that same play. Bring Silvestro in motion.
And they'll run behind Silvestro again. Mears strings it out. Mears on his feet. Cut down. Stays in bounds. He's at the 12-yard line, so a loss of 1 or 2.
Now West Deptford cheats on that play. They see Silvestro come in motion. They're going to cheat to the right. Carroll comes knifing through the defense or offense and is able to trip up the ball carrier. And that's why, you know, you're wondering, are they going to try to mix it up a little bit here and use West Deptford's aggressiveness to their advantage? Try and think they're going to the same way with Silvestro and mix it up. Silvestro now lined up to the right.
Hodges fakes. Flushed out of the pocket. Hodges will keep it. He'll run to the 10, down to the 7-yard line with 50 seconds left.
Let me say to about everybody in the stands on both sides, this is what we've been waiting for. A Paulsboro West Deptford game to come down to this. It's been a long time. There's been plenty of hype. But here it is. Hodges is going to drop back. No one's open. Good coverage downfield. Slips a little bit on the turf and just makes something out of nothing. But nice coverage downfield by the Eagles.
3rd down and 7. Actually, 3rd down and 6. They can get a 1st down just inside the goal line. 42 seconds left.
And it depends how patient you are, but you still can run the ball here. You can run the ball if you're Paulsboro, because obviously this is 4-down territory. We'll be talking about this game and much more this week. John Mondelli, myself, and Scott Chapelier, the Gloucester County Times football writer, every Wednesday at 7:30 and every Thursday at 10 p.m. High school sports report. We have the wrestling report coming up in the winter.
timeouts remain for the Paulsboro Red Raiders. Third down. Actually, one timeout remaining. Third down and 6. Hodges getting his offense set. A lot of movement. Silvestro will set. Hodges throws across the middle and in and out of the hands of Mitchell. In and out of the hands of Mitchell. It looked from here to be a good pass.
Great call by Coach Howard, though. What he's going to do is he's going to send Silvestro short over the side, over the middle of the field, try to draw the defense and find Mitchell in the back. He figures Silvestro in this area, the big target at 6'4", is going to draw some attention, suck up the safety and the linebackers and try to beat him over the top. With Mitchell, it just goes through his hands.
Fourth down and 6 on the 7-yard line. Nice pass last time by Hodges, falls incomplete. Carter's in motion. Hodges back to pass. Getting a rush, he keeps. Hodges is hit, drives forward. And he looks like he's short of the first down.
Hodges twisting and turning, not able to get that extra yard to pick up the first down. And it's going to be West Deptford football, 34 seconds, and the Eagles are going to win this game. But what a terrific effort by Hodges. Everything breaks down. He sees some openings. He's going to try and absorbs the hit first off and tries to twist and turn, but they gang up on him. The gangrene defense is able to pull him down and deny Paulsboro the revenge from last year. The Eagles will go into Manasquan with momentum.
34 seconds left. And West Deptford calls timeout here. Coach Folsom wants to go over.
Yep, good use of timeout. Why not? You got him. You want to just go in there and make sure that nothing would happen to prohibit any type of miracle for Paulsboro. But Rob, you got to hand it to both sides. Well-coached game. Both teams came out to play extremely hard against one another with a lot on the line next week. Just an excellent football game. Not many penalties, well played, a huge crowd. This is what we've been waiting for, a West Deptford Paulsboro game to come down to this. What a night.
Timeout West Deptford.
I think this is Paulsboro.
Excuse me, you're right, Paulsboro.
What a night. Free hot dogs and hamburgers up in the booth. Everything went well.
Well, two very evenly matched teams. We had very, very few mistakes, and of course, the biggest mistake of the night turns into the difference in the football game, the interception of Hodges. As Hodges really had a lot of time in the pocket, threw it underneath, and what was curious about it is that if Carbone had not intercepted it, it probably would have just fell to no one. So just one misstep by Hodges tonight, and look how excited Clyde Folsom is.
Yeah, this is a big win for West Deptford. Yeah, this is a team over the years before, especially before Folsom was here.
You rarely see
was the little sister to Paulsboro.
You rarely see Clyde get so excited about a win, but he was literally jumping up and down. And look at him, he is truly pumped. Running out to congratulate his team on a job well done. He realizes that this is a big win against a very good Paulsboro program. This is a year that he certainly did not anticipate being undefeated at this point. But to be 11-0 speaks volumes about the job that these West Deptford kids have done and this West Deptford coaching staff. West Deptford victorious 21-14. The big Thanksgiving Day rivalry between these Gloucester County opponents, and you see Silvestro.
Yeah, you saw Silvestro and Smith there just talking to each other, and both them guys played out of their minds tonight. I mean, they really did. They came out and then played great games on both sides of the ball. You look at what Hodges did tonight. I think he emerged tonight as saying that I can compete with the big boys, and
I mean, they're got to be excited for next week. But even the years to come, Paulsboro, this is a good team with a lot of good young players on its team. West Deptford, though, a little too much firepower. In the end, they make the big play. The inexperience of Hodges of throwing that ball over the middle plays a huge factor. But I just can't say enough about what a great game this was. Well played on both sides. Both teams played outstanding, hard hitting going on out there, and just well coached. I mean, you can't really say anything bad about this game.
Paulsboro will look ahead to defeat Glassboro in a rematch of last year's Group 1 South Jersey Finals. We'll have that, of course, here on Channel 5. And West Deptford will look to cap their perfect season. They will head to Manasquan. Something unusual. They're undefeated, and yet they will be the lower seed, and they will take quite a bus trip down the shore, hoping to finish up this remarkable season for the Eagles. Your final score here from West Deptford: it was the Eagles victorious over Paulsboro, 21-14. For my partner Sean Leary, my stats man Mark Narducci, my director Stan Ritter, and the rest of the crew, I'm Rob Chris. Thanks for joining us again. Your final score: the Eagles over the Red Raiders, 21-14. Good night, everybody.